Hello, amazing YouTubers. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am at Daniel 11, and this is actually day 5. And my main truth today is it is unwise to act out of desperation, trying anything and everything instead of using godly wisdom. And that's actually Daniel 11, verse 16. So, of course, I'm doing a reading, okay? So if I'm not looking directly at you all the time, this is why. These Daniel things that I actually wrote down when I was doing Daniel. So it is a reading. So forgive me if I'm not looking right in your face all the time. So I know what it's like to be desperate. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to not just be poor, but to be penniless. It's not fun. When you're desperate, it's normal to try everything you can to get out of that situation. The goal is to get out of the situation first and then think about the best way to proceed. You see, when you're desperate, you're going to try anything you can that will work. Waiting is not seen as an option because it means remaining in the same plight. If you've never been desperate before, then you cannot know what it's like to need something as much as you need to breathe. As Christians, we are supposed to rely on God. We're supposed to trust in God, even in desperate times. In theory, this is great. But in reality, it can be a little, tricky. We know that if we've ever been in a tricky situation. Now, should I be realistic or spiritual when I'm at my wit's end? Does being realistic mean that I'm not trusting in God? The reality is that you will never know whether you truly trust God until you're in a situation, a desperate situation, where your faith is tried. It is easy to say, oh, I trust God, or I have faith, until something goes wrong or something happens where you have to exercise that faith. We're usually very surprised at how much faith we have or don't have in desperate situations. I remember being so desperate to find a job one time, but I did trust God, and He blessed me with an amazing job. Hallelujah! I also remember being so desperate one time when I was late on my rent and I didn't have the money to pay my rent. But I remember that time, it wasn't such a cookie cutter experience because I was upset and I felt like God had let me down. So I was fussing at God about letting me down and why I was in this situation. And the truth of the matter is that I simply panicked. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless. And guess what happened? The next day, God blessed me with my rent. Actually, it made me kind of embarrassed before God. Ouch. I mean, both of these faith walks were necessary, I think, because I learned something in both instances. You know, we do have to trust God whether things work out or not. Because even when God doesn't do something, we have to trust that He's able to do something And it's probably a reason if he just doesn't do something. When I acted out of fear and out of desperation, I was not trusting God, even though at the time I thought that I was, until things got really, really close to the time. And then I kind of panicked. You see, God often comes after the fact to show us what real trust is. And not just that, where our heart is. Because many times we think we're in a place where we're not. And we need to know whether we trust God or whether we can and do trust God when things get difficult. You do know that God is not our genie. I had to learn that because I really did think that he was just here for me and he was my genie. Desperate or not, we must use godly wisdom at all times. I know it's hard to wait sometimes, but I tell you, if you wait, you won't be disappointed. God will come through and he will do what it is you need, and you won't have such consequences from the actions that you've taken because you didn't wait. Like we know in the Bible, like Sarah didn't wait. So she, Ishmael was born and she asked her own husband to sleep with the handmaid, and then Ishmael was born, which vexed her and caused a lot of trouble. Even now, some of the troubles have to do with Ishmael descendants and Isaac descendants. So we don't want to move too soon. Wait on God's wisdom and trust him. God actually always knows what we're going through. And one thing I can assure you of, and that's that God will never leave you nor forsake you, especially in desperate times. Thank you so much for listening today. I appreciate you. Please take your time, and if you like this, please push the like button and please comment. Let me know what you're thinking about these videos. And don't forget to share it if you have the opportunity. And please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you. And one more plug-in for my book. It does not matter if you are black or white. It is actually a children's book, but it's one of those children books that everyone needs to read. And that can be found on Amazon. Again, it does not matter if you are black and white. I hope you have an amazing week, and God bless you. Until next time.